Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Worldwide TV Network, Women on TV.tv, iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee. And today is a special show because I suck at pinball. I always wanted to be good at pinball, and I was never good at pinball, and I still think I could be good at that. So we have to talk about this because Stern Pinball is one, I consider you guys one of the best in the world, if not the best. This is my opinion as someone who really can't play, but likes the games. So we have to introduce the one and only, one of the best out there. And Zach, I call you one of the best in the world, Zach Sharpe.
Thank you. I appreciate the setup there.
Let's talk about this. Where do you consider yourself, first of all, when it comes to pinball, and talk about the family of this, how everything is run?
Sure. So, Stern Pinball is the world leader in manufacturing pinball machines. We've been doing it for over 30 years, and we just produce hit after hit. And no pun intended, our latest hit is based on the iconic Led Zeppelin, as you can see in my kind of virtual background here. But we produce and sell fun. I know you were kind of self-deprecating and saying that you were not good at pinball. You can't play pinball wrong, because if you have fun, you're doing it right.
Well, and that's what it is. I think I can always be better at it, and it's always a challenge. And just when you think it goes out of style, it's never really gone out of style, has it?
No, because it's something that will just never be kind of duplicated or replicated. And you can enjoy pinball in a virtual, means, but nothing beats the physical, tangible aspect of, batting a ball around.
So talk about this. Is the title still Director of Marketing? You still have that title? Have you gone up or what?
Yeah, I am still Director of Marketing until, Gary Stern retires. I think, I'm kind of at my ceiling for right now. But no, I just love promoting, playing the game. And like I said, pinball is the universal language of fun, and that's what we're bringing to the world.
How do you continue, within the last 30 years for that company, how do they keep reinventing, going up each year? That's not easy to do. Talk about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything, with the advancement of technology, I mean, you look at, games from the 70s to the 80s. I mean, you go from the electromechanical realm of pinball machines, and then you progress to solid state, and then the dot matrix display. And now we have, an LCD with, high res graphic. The rules of these games have become so substantial. Back in the day, it's like, all right, there's one multi-ball or, a couple drop targets and, modes. And now there's stories, with Led Zeppelin, they're essentially over an hour's worth of entertainment with these Led Zeppelin songs, and make it fun too. I mean, by and large, you don't want to just fill it with stuff just to fill it with stuff. Because we make these games because we buy and own these games ourselves. So it's kind of like the old hair commercials. I'm not only the president, I'm also a client. It's the same thing with Stern Pinball. We are all clients of the games that we produce. We want to make the most fun, impactful, world under glass, and bring these properties to life.
You were freezing for a little bit, but talk about who chose Led Zeppelin this year? And what was it last year and the year before?
Sure. So Led Zeppelin's a unique case. So they are one of the hardest licenses to get, period. And, I said Stern Pinball has been in business for a little over 30 years. And you can see the company and Gary Stern a little over 30 years to get the Led Zeppelin pinball machine to market. So you could say this has been just a labor of love and just angst to get this property into, a pinball form. So that was, monumental to make a Led Zeppelin pinball machine, which we'll probably never see again. But in terms of, the licenses and properties that we do produce, it's a combination. Sometimes it's licenses, but on the flip side, sometimes, we're approached and it's like, hey, we want to be, have a Stranger Things pinball machine, and, collaborate. So there's no, every game is different. So it's not always an apples to apples comparison. But, by and large, we have a team of, engineers, programmers, and game designers that are fans of these properties, because you want somebody who is going to put their blood, sweat, and tears and creative juices into bringing, the best experience possible. So, internally, people raise their hands where it's like, all right, guys, we've got Led Zeppelin, who's on this machine. So we definitely marry these projects really well.
So when it comes to that, and yes, they are, it's almost like trying to get permission from the Beatles back in the day. Yeah, that is very, very tough. So congratulations on that, because I can only imagine what that was like. I can only imagine what that meeting was like. That meeting must have been.
I mean, we just had the Beatles game come out 2 years ago, and yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's difficult. I mean, every license is different, but when you deal with like the Beatles or Led Zeppelin, it's not just one entity. It's 4 people from the band, so that's 4 different licensing parties that you're dealing with, or families. So it's not necessarily just one entity. So it's challenging, but ultimately everyone wants to make the best product possible, because that's their name and their imagery on it. So they want justice done to their theme.
And when it comes to this, are you seeing a younger audience come now for pinball? So people who never were able to play the game, but their dads and their uncles and great grandfathers played that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, pinball has crossed that millennial divide, generational divide with, just because a game is, iconic like Led Zeppelin, there's people who are being introduced to their music all the time. But then you look at a property such as Stranger Things. I mean, there's nothing more hot and relevant on Netflix than Stranger Things to a younger audience. So licenses that we work with that are just not only well known in the United States, but around the whole world.
Talk about what it's like now to work in COVID, where you started to talk about the factory of everything, new working conditions, and then what is it like to sell these games outside the US?
Sure. So, I mean, business has been fantastic, and we would never wish a pandemic on any of this, but our consumer market has really grown. I think a lot of people, aren't going on vacations. They're doing, home remodeling, improving their home gaming. But commercial market with bar arcades and family entertainment centers, it's definitely been hit hard, and we can't wait for us to get on the other side of it. I think we see a light at the end of the tunnel. We're just kind of like a dimmer switch. We're just trying to slowly get there. From a manufacturing perspective, we've been following all of our manufacturing facility. So we've got dividers, plastic sheets, masks, temperature checks. I'm sure I'm missing other protocols, but everything is spaced out, and we're fortunate to have a really large manufacturing facility, 110,000 square feet, that we're able to be agile and kind of spread things out more than we did in the past. So we're definitely, if you don't have to be in the office, we're working more remote. And definitely has its challenges, because pinball is a physical aspect, but teams have taken up to we're on a Zoom meeting right now instead of face to face. There's Slack and other means of communication. So the teams are constantly in touch with each other, sharing stuff visually, and then on a case by case basis going into the factory. So we're doing our best, making it work as safely and responsibly as possible.
Where are you guys headquartered at? And then were you ever giving tours?
Yeah, so we are based just outside of Chicago in Elk Grove Village. Oh. And we do factory tours. Typically, right now they're kind of on hiatus just for safety reasons and social distance. But once we kind of get over that hump, we'll go back to offering, which we did in the past, our world famous factory tour.
That's good. Talk about what it's like to sell these outside the U.S. because I'm sure a lot of people. I think of one guy in Scotland. He's got the original Star Trek chair, and the reason why he got it as it was being thrown at the Paramount lot because he wanted to pretend that he's Captain Kirk looking over the stars in Scotland. What a lucky guy! So I'm thinking the people who would love to have this because of Led Zeppelin or even the Beatles or something like that through Stern Pinball.
Yeah, so we don't sell direct. We have our worldwide distribution. So we have dealers located all over the world. So if you go to sternpinball.com and you try to find a dealer or distributor, you can search by country if you're outside of the US, or search by zip code, and you'll find a local dealer that carries, our full catalog of machines, accessories, merchandise. So, if you can't afford necessarily a giant pinball machine, maybe there's a shirt or cool little hat that you can wear, and just live in the world of pinball.
Let me ask you this question. I don't think you've ever been asked this. We love stuff that's environmentally friendly and sustainable. Have you guys ever made a pinball machine like that?
That's sustainable?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. And you're right, I've never been asked that question.
And the reason why I'm asking because on our Dreamweaver Artist Ranch, we like stuff that's environmentally friendly, sustainable. So I was like, I wonder if they've made one yet because we would love to be the first to have it. That's why.
No, that's cool. I mean, I will say this. Um, it's not sustainable, but components of machines. So we're kind of touching on the evolution of pinball machines. It's not only external, but under the hood that has really evolved. So we've got our Spike 2 system. So there's less moving parts underneath the machine. So they're more reliable. They take less power. So it's, you're using less, I guess, energy, so to speak.
Yeah.
All the lighting is no longer incandescent bulbs, it's LEDs. So
Yeah.
they don't need to be replaced. They will essentially last, I mean, forever. I don't want to claim they'll last forever, but they'll last a long time.
Do you
and there's
remember?
less like wires.
Yeah, see, and I like that. Do you remember when you really started to like playing pinball? And then what makes you good at it? You personally?
For me personally, I was born into it. So my father, he kind of helped legalize pinball in the 70s. He was instrumental of that. He worked at a pinball company and literally born with pinball machines around me. There's stories of my brother and I falling asleep to the blinking light. In terms of how I was good at it, I've kind of always been naturally decent at sports. Handball, hit a baseball translates pretty well to battling under some of my opponents on the competitive scene, where some people might be able to play well on their own or in their basement, but if you put them in a pressure-packed situation, they kind of fold. Where I love and thrive under pressure. So I think that's a mental aspect, not just physical.
I like that, and that makes sense. That kind of reminds me of playing the game of chess and stuff like that. There's that whole underground of things, and I think back to Happy Days or the Fonz. You might be too young, but the Fonz playing pinball that never goes away.
Yep.
And it's fun to see little kids attempting to play it because the games sometimes are bigger than them, but you just like laughing.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I've got a 2-year-old, and just seeing him on a step stool hitting the start button and the flippers, it's like, all right, here's a new generation of players.
That's funny. So who's more competitive, your brother or your father?
Ooh, probably my brother. My dad, funny you say that, but our father did not let my brother and I compete for the longest time because he didn't want a sibling rivalry forming. And he holds pinball so dear to his heart. I don't think he wanted to see his sons torn apart by like battling and competing in pinball, but we just kept begging and pleading, like, please let us play. And that's when we found out, after years of begging, he finally just caved in. He's like, fine, you guys go play. And we dominated the juniors circuit. And it's like, wow, we are pretty good at this. And we never looked back.
I think that's pretty cool. Have you had a chance to travel outside the world, really promoting it in a different way? Zach, did I lose you?
So, competing in Italy, Denmark. What's that?
Oh, no, go ahead. I missed the beginning of what you said.
Oh, no, I said, we've been competing all over the world. So there's tournaments taking place everywhere. Well, I mean, right now, not so much, but, once we get through this pandemic. But I mean, the World Championships was in Italy last year.
Wow.
I've competed in tournaments in the Netherlands, Denmark, Australia. I mean, all over.
Is that like a 3-day event, a weekend event, or a week long? How is that done? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, usually, a big tournament will last at least 3 days. So it's like, there's a qualifying portion, and then if you make the finals, then there's the finals component leading up to, the last person standing.
So as of today, where's your ranking today compared to, say, 2019?
I wish you asked me. Yeah, I wish you asked me this a couple of years ago. I was ranked #1 in the world, and I rank. So I've kind of slipped a little bit. I think I'm in the 60s, but once he gets a little older and we'll travel a little bit more, I can see myself improving pretty quickly.
Well, as you would know, it's hard to stay #1. And I always tell people, I'd rather be #2 because it always gives me that goal if I want to be #1, because at that point you can't go any place but down.
Yeah, it's like the old Avis commercials. We try harder because we're #2.
Exactly. No, that's fun on things like that. So when it comes to the brand in general, what do you want the audience to know why you guys are really good? Because that's important. Not only are you guys great players, but it's also the company brand. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, we promote and sell fun. So whether it is the physical product that we sell, we've got accessories, we've got merchandise, we've got the Stern Insider program. So if you become a Stern Insider, you can find out some of the behind the scenes. So you can see the development of a machine. So it's not just the end product. You can see how these things are made. I mean, it is nearly a year and a half to produce these games from start to finish. So it's kind of really cool to see the evolution of a machine. And we're the best. I mean, we have the best licenses, the best designers, programmers, artists, you name it. If you want a pinball machine made and produced anywhere in the world, I mean, Stern Pinball is #1.
I'm going to remember that. And, and one day, sometime, it might be next year, but I would say sometime after September, I'm going to invite you to our ranch in Northern California, the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch, because we will bring people in from different technologies and stuff like that. I'd like to have you guys come in and just maybe set up something on our ranch and just go, and maybe, who knows, maybe we'll have a tournament for you guys in Northern California. I don't know. That might be interesting. Who knows?
No, I'm serious. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Give your social media links for everybody.
Well, if you go to sternpinball.com, at the very bottom, you can see our Facebook link, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us on social media, sign up to be a Stern Insider. There's a free version, so it doesn't cost you anything, and just be up to date with all things Stern.
And how do your fans reach out to you?
You can reach out to me, Zach.Sharpe at sternpinball.com, or even on the website. If you go to, contact us, that stuff gets funneled my way. So there's many ways that you can reach me or the company.
All right, Zach, I want to thank you for your time and everything like that, and teaching me about a little bit about the history of the company and what you and your dad and brother have been, because I've been kind of watching what you guys have been doing. I never knew I was going to get a chance to talk to you guys because, in my view, you're just as important as talking to George Clooney, because gamers have a whole people don't really tap into, but they're huge. And that's one of the things that I'm starting to on the sports side of stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are great. So, I thank you for that. And again, give the social media links for the company one more time.
Just sternpinball.com. All of our social media links are found through our main website.
And so thank you, Zach Sharpe, for coming on. And as I would always say, if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More. We'll see you next week.